Welcome to this video on preparing multimedia-based materials. Screen capture software can be used to create video movies from your screen using either the webcam or microphone or, like in this particular case, both. Video-based materials are ideal for short talks, for podcasts, or for lectures. This video will present the basics of multimedia resources and use of a popular screen capture software package to prepare teacher-made videos. The video will demonstrate how to download Screencast-O-Matic, how to design your own video narrations, and actually how to conduct the narration process. Screencast-O-Matic is a screen capture and video editing software tool that can be launched directly from an internet browser. To get started, go to www.screencastomatic.com. Click on Start Recording for Free, and you will see this image that allows you to launch the free recorder. It will take a few minutes to launch the recorder, but it will be saved to your computer and you can use it over and over again. Okay. When you launch the recorder, you will see this screen appear. A dotted screen box is adjustable to capture the target area that you want on your screen. Notice how I have kept an image on the left side of my screen, and I have used the web camera on the right side of the screen. So you can use both. A lot of people don't like to have the image on there, and they'll just use the full screen for the text of the material, usually a PowerPoint presentation. Before you start recording, look to the bottom of the box at the controls that are available to you. A dark gray record box offers options for capturing the screen, the webcam, or both. Notice that the trial version of the software that you're going to get for free limits the maximum recording time to 15 minutes. Okay. You can see on the screen here that it says max time none. Well, that's because I went and purchased the upgraded version of Screencast-O-Matic. I think it's only like $14.95, at least it was the last time I was doing it. And I've used it for years on creating just these kinds of videos that you see in our Blackboard course. But usually 15 minutes is more than enough time for demonstration purposes, and even for most video lectures and podcasts. Most students usually tire of a video after about 15 or 20 minutes. Okay. Again, the upgraded version has no time restrictions that you see here. Next, notice the size of the image. 720 pixels will be sufficient for most narrations. The microphone strength comes next. You can see that you can check your signal strength here by this sliding bar, and you want to do that before recording to make sure that your microphone is picking up your narration. Finally, the computer audio controls the speaker volume located at the bottom of this screen capture. And all the way towards the bottom is the actual button that begins to record. Don't do that yet. It's red. At least it's not on this screen because it's black and white. But for the most part, that will be red. When you click that, the recording will start. But again, let me just show you some things about the screen. Here you can see that the screen and the webcam are both being used. When you click on both, you will have the opportunity to move these dotted lines that you see here, okay, by grabbing one of the corner anchors, and you can move it to the image anywhere on the screen. So in a lot of cases, And in this particular case, I've actually got the screen capture right here for me on my right side of the screen, and you can't see it, but on the left side of the screen is the script that I'm using to do this narration. Okay, moving the dotted lines first, shrinking or expanding the lines until they border only the part of the screen that you want to capture, or you want the software to capture. Then move the webcam. You can move that image anywhere inside the dotted lines. Again, it will require you, when you're creating the PowerPoint, if you're going to use PowerPoint, to limit the image and the material that you're going to be covering to one side of the screen, so that the recording, so that the webcam can be on the other side. So it takes a little bit of practice. Again, the example shows the webcam at the top right of the image. That's usually where you want it. And when you create the PowerPoint presentation, keep that portion of the slide empty. Again, it takes a bit of practice to get this, but you can do it fairly quickly. Okay, here we're ready to start recording the session. Click the record button to start the video. Screencast-O-Matic will count down from 3, 2, 1, and then give you a go, so that you know that you can start recording. At the bottom of the screen, it will keep track of the amount of time that's being expended, and it has the done button for you to click when you're finished. You can adjust the microphone or the volume level. Excuse me. And again, please notice that you're limited to 15 minutes when you're using the free version of Screencast-O-Matic. So go ahead and do your recording. If you're like me, you don't like the sound of your own voice. You certainly don't like your picture, but that's okay. Your students, for an online course particularly, will use these videos in place of face-to-face lectures that you would have in your classroom. And they are very, very effective. And I always tell my students at the beginning of these things, don't expect a professional video here. I'm going to capture my lecture the same way as I would do it if I was in the classroom. So don't worry about starting and stopping. Don't worry about editing out potential mistakes or slips or, uhs or thes or, that kind of thing in your video. Just video the lecture, and your students will be very, very impressed with how excuse me, how good this can go. Okay, after you have clicked the done button, let me just refresh your memory. When you're done, you could click here, and Screencast-O-Matic will launch this preview window, okay, where you can view the video before what we call the final rendering, where it actually makes the MP4 or the video file for you. So to view the video before you're ready to final render, you can use these options that are here. Click the preview button that you see here, okay, and it will show you the video from start to finish. You can look at it. You can go backwards and forwards quickly. If you, for some reason, decide that you want to continue with this, so this is a way for you to stop the presentation, see where you're at, and then say, okay, I want to continue, and you can continue recording simply by hitting the record button here. There's some simple features, editing features that come with the basic package, but don't expect too much. For example, you can draw in something on the screen. You can certainly delete it. And then when you're finished, go ahead and click on the Done button, and that will move you into the publishing phase of Screencast-O-Matic. And so here's the next two images that come up. They want to know what you want to do with the recording, and you have basically three options. The first option is to create an account on Screencast-O-Matic website and publish your video to that account, which is great. I mean, it gives you a chance to create your video and not have to use the storage on your own machine. But so that's the first option, publish to Screencast-O-Matic. You will be able to create another free account there to store and then later access your video. A lot of us like to publish to YouTube. Again, most of us have begun to establish our own accounts with YouTube. I know educators get them for free. And so you can publish this video directly to YouTube, where it will give you a web address that you can give to your students. You can link them into a Blackboard course or whatever. Again, saving you the storage space on your own computer. If that's not a real big problem for you, your final choice, is to publish to a video file on your own computer. It will save the video to the computer that you're on, and as you can see here, there are a couple of different or additional video options that you might want to consider. Most of us will publish the videos, especially if they're lectures like this is, in what's called the full size. It's more than sufficient for easy understanding by your students. If you want to publish something in high definition, you can click here and you will get a much sharper image, but unless you're doing something really fancy with videos, it's really not necessary. You could also at the end begin to decide you want, when you're ready to save your video, you click on this bottom link here. Okay, and that will trigger, let's stay here for a second, that will trigger what's called the rendering of the video. Depending on the size, a 15-minute video might take, maybe 8 to 10 to 12 minutes for it to actually render. And again, it will either put it on Screencast-O-Matic, or it will put it on YouTube, or it will save to your computer. That's your choice. Okay. That's the mechanics of using Screencast-O-Matic. It's really is very simple. Once you figure out where to place your images on the screen and you get a little used to doing this, then the mechanics of Screencast-O-Matic is fairly simple. Let me mention one more thing here. The video type. Notice that right now I'm using QuickTime MP4. You have a pop-down box here that allows you to a few more other options, but usually MP4 is the one that is standard across both a Mac and a PC, so you know that all of your students can view it. All right, let's turn our attention just for a second then to talk about what ought to be in the video. Okay, designing video narration is going to follow the same process that we did in previous examples and in subsequent examples of creating technology-based materials. I'm going to give you some of the basic components that I think ought to be in a video narration, but the bottom line is you're the teacher, and so you're going to have the choice of what to put into your video. Normally video narrations are simple, straightforward. They're mostly voiceovers like this is of a PowerPoint presentation. Video narrations offer both the visual and auditory learners additional opportunities to successfully master the material. And as with the text-based material that you've already done or should be doing soon, video narration should be constructed with some of these common sets of components. Introduce the lesson. Make sure that the title of the lesson is obvious to the student as soon as the video starts. Provide them an outline of the lesson. Where are you going to go with it? What are we going to be covering? And along with that, the more substantive learning objectives. What exactly is going to be presented here in the video? Then offer your subject matter content, and then maybe consider a formative or summative assessment. Doesn't have to be in the video, but maybe a question that you can ask your students in the video that makes them think about what the content was that they just looked at and some of the highlights of what they should have taken away from your video. And then finally, you can think about the narration quality. You could spend hours and days doing a 15-minute section if you really want it to look professional. But I'm telling you, it's not worth the time, either for you or your students. They would just as soon see the video as you would appear in a lecture. You don't stop your lecture and start over again. You just simply correct any mistakes you might have made. You try to keep the ums and the uhs out of your presentation. But for the most part, a lecture is a lecture, and these video presentations work very well that way. Okay, talking about the narration process itself, you might want to consider using something like an ADDIE model for designing your instruction. If you haven't had this, you will have it soon, talking about how you can create any lesson by analyzing the student audience, then designing the content, then developing the video, okay, the script itself, recording and editing the video, called the implementation, and then finally using some sort of evaluation of the learning outcomes, even again if it's a general question. And then a good design model will repeat the process, and you'll scroll through here. So this is just a little, informal way of encouraging you to start the video with some sort of a design model, some sort of a model on how you're going to do this. Don't just start recording right away. You will find a lot of wasted time by figuring out what it is you want to say. The biggest problem with video especially is to go through the presentation and then go, whoops, I forgot something that was really important and I should have said that. Well, that'll be eliminated if you have a script that you can follow. And Screencast-O-Matic, while it has a few options, one of the options that it doesn't have is that once you're done with the video and you have rendered it, ball game's over. Okay, you can't go back and edit it again. You can't add something. You can't split it up. You have to use other software to do that, and frankly, it's usually kind of not worth it. Okay, so that's our presentation on preparing multimedia-based lessons. Chapter 6 in your book has the specifics of using Screencast-O-Matic for preparing a screen capture video. For this course and for this lesson, we want you to prepare a video of about 10 to 12 minutes. So you're going to have to rehearse it, you're going to have to script it, and you're going to have to focus on like one learning objective to get through it in that amount of time. We do that so that you don't have to buy the enhanced package, although if you're going to decide that this is something, a format that you really like, and you're going to be doing a lot of particularly online presentations, I think you'll find the advanced features to be well worth the money. Finally, after you're done with your video, you as an instructor, you'll get to decide how you want to populate and where you want to populate Blackboard with your movie. It may be in any of the weeks. It may be an introduction to the course or to the lesson. All of that will be totally up to you. So there you go. If there's any questions, please refer them to your instructor.